Hello and welcome to another grammar lesson. Today we'll be looking at some grammar and some language functions. Our first rule today is the past perfect. All you need to know about the past perfect is when you have more than one verb in the same sentence, both of them are in the past, we want to know what happened first. So, an action that was completed before another action took place. Let's get started. I'm going to give you the first tip. When we use the past perfect, we always add had plus the verb in the past participle. This shows that this verb happened first. I'm going to explain to you how to use the past perfect by telling you a story about Sammy's bad day. Let's look at the timeline. In this timeline, Sammy woke up late. This is the first action. Sammy woke up late. Then he forgot to lock the door. Now, if I'm going to combine these two actions in one sentence and show whoever is listening or reading what happened first, I'm going to use the past perfect. So I'm going to say, Sammy forgot to lock the door because he had woken up late. And notice, we always start with, if we start with the second action, the other action will always be preceded by because or after. So notice, Sammy forgot to lock the door because he had woken up late. So the first action that took place is preceded by had, and the verb is in which tense? In the past participle. Let's look at the next example. Let's keep looking at his story. Then, number one, the first action that happened, he lost his laptop. Notice, this is in the past. Another sentence, he arrived at work. So he lost his laptop, he arrived at work. These two sentences are both in the past. We're talking now. I'm going to combine these two sentences to talk about the past using the past perfect to show you what happened first. So I'll say, Sammy, what happened first? Did he lose the laptop and then arrive at work? Or the opposite, he arrived at work first. So he lost the bag first. So I'll say, Sammy had lost his bag before he arrived at work. Or I can also say, Sammy arrived at work after he had lost his laptop. So notice, the action that happened first always has what? Has had and the verb in the past participle. Let's keep on with the story. He really had a bad day. A thief robbed the house. Sammy got home. Let's look at the sentence. By the time Sammy got home, a thief had robbed the house. Now, if you use by the time, it's obviously going to be with the first or the second action. It's going to be with the second action. By the time Sammy got home, a thief had robbed the house. He came and robbed and left. The first action always has had and the verb in the past participle. Let's use this timeline to look at more examples. Look at the timeline. I wrote a letter. My brother came home. What happened first? I wrote the letter. So I had written a letter before my brother came home. And notice, the first action that we want to display always has had and the verb in the past participle. I could also say, my brother came home after I had written the letter. It's very easy. Look at the sentence on the screen. Let's look at it together. By the time Sarah got to the station, the train had left. Now, what do you think? Did Sarah get on the train? This is the question. What do you think? Let's look at the timeline together and analyze it on the screen. By the time Sarah got to the station, the train had left. So look at the timeline. We're in now. The first action, the train had left. The second action is Sarah arrived. So did she get on the train or not? We don't know when the train left, which is the first action, but it left at any point of time before the moment Sarah arrived, which is the second action. So did she get on the train? No, she didn't. Let's look at another example, also using the timeline. The timeline helps you visualize the actions so you can answer easily. Srood took his piano lesson. This is our first action. Srood made a phone call. Let's put them in one sentence and notice which parts of that sentence show which actions happened first. After Saud had taken his music lesson, he made a telephone call. If you decide to use after, obviously it's going to be which action first? You're going to use the first action. So if you use after, obviously the verb will be preceded by had and will be in the past participle. After Saud had taken his music lesson, he made a telephone call. If we decide to go with before, we'll say Saud had taken his music lesson before he made a telephone call. Very easy. Now, do you know that you can use the past perfect with wish? What do you think? Do you know this information or not? Let's look at it. Yes, you can use it with wish because we're expressing regrets about something that either happened or didn't happen in the past. If we decide to use it with wish, the rule is as follows: wish plus past perfect. And wish is always in the past tense. For example, Jessica wished that she had learned typing in order to help her husband with his work. Notice wished is in the past. She had learned, so had plus the verb in what tense? In the past participle. So does Jessica know how to type? Do you think she knows? She's wishing for it. She wished for it? No. Jessica wished that she had learned typing in order to help her husband. So we can assume and we can guess that she does not know how to type. Now it's time for an exercise. Let's look at it on the screen together. Choose the correct answer. Dalal bought the dress after she, what? Enough money. After is always followed by what? Past perfect or the regular past? What do you think? After she had collected. Excellent. You're getting there. So notice if you see the word after, obviously it's going to be followed by had and the verb in the past participle. Let's look at another example here on the screen together. Before they got to England, the family, their flat. Now remember, if we have two verbs in the same sentence, one of them will always be in the past tense and the other one will be in the past perfect. So this is a tip for you. Like it's a key point. So look at the sentence. Before they got here is in the past. So obviously the second part of the sentence would be in the past perfect. So the answer would be had sold. Before they got to England, the family had sold their flat. Let's look at another example. The lady bought her car before she got into the shop. Easy. I've just given you the same tip. Before she got into the shop. What do you think? The lady had parked. Excellent. So these are things to look for. When you're looking, look for the words before, after, as soon as. These things, these will help you get the correct answer. And notice if there are two verbs in the sentence, where's the other verb? Is it in the past perfect? Then obviously the other verb will be in the past and vice versa. One more question. The house before you told him the truth. What will it be? Will Ali leave? Has Ali left? Does Ali leave or had Ali left? What do you think? What do you think? Correct. The answer is had Ali left. Here you have a set of questions for you. Take some time to read them, guess the answers, and then check with me. Let's look at them together. Abdullah wished he, what? Studied for the test. Remember, we talked about wished. When we have wished, what is it preceded, followed by? He had studied. Excellent. It's always followed by had and the verb in the past participle. Next question. Dad had booked tickets to Paris before he. Now we said Dad had booked tickets. So what will the answer be? Before he told us. Excellent. And here, Jassim laughed as soon as he, what? Obviously, Jassim laughed. So the answer will be as soon as he, what? Had seen. Excellent. You're getting there. Now, do you know that you've already been using the past perfect in another rule? Maybe you've taken this rule in 10th or 11th grade. Do you know that? What rule is that? Can you guess? It's one of the basic and the easiest rules you've probably covered. Yes, we use the past perfect in conditional sentences. In which type of conditional? In the third conditional. If you had known that, then you would have answered. If you had known, you would have answered. This is a mix of what? of the third conditional and past perfect appliances. So let's see it. If plus past perfect would have plus past participle. Easy. It's a simple equation. If you have if plus past perfect, you would have would have plus past participle. If I had studied hard, I would have passed the test. Very, very easy. And now it's time to look at another section of the past perfect. The past perfect continuous. What is it? It's basically when you refer to the duration of an event taking place before a certain time in the past. Look at it on the screen. The past perfect continuous refers to a duration of an event taking place before a certain time in the past. Now, when do we use it? We use it to talk about what? A duration of an activity, how long an activity took. We also talk about this activity in which tense? Yes, exactly. So let's look at this timeline. Here is a family. They had been talking for over an hour. So they had been talking for over an hour because it's in the past. And Ali arrived. All of these actions took place in the past. However, the talking part took place for an hour. The family had been talking for an hour before Ali arrived. Or Ali arrived after the family had been talking for an hour. The same thing, however, when we use had been talking, it's because the duration of the event took place for a certain period of time. How do I use the past perfect continuous? Very easy, by adding had been and the verb in the ing form. I had been playing, they had been swimming, they had been shopping, she had been watching. Very easy. Now, we also use the past perfect continuous to talk about actions which are repeated in the past, or which were repeated in the past, And we form them by adding had been plus verb in ing. For example, Friday till Monday, Hassa had been having sleepless nights. So this is a process. It took time from Friday to Monday. So from Friday to Monday, Hassa had some trouble sleeping. She had been having sleepless nights. Then, what did she do? She was treated. So both of these things took place when they took place in the past. Now I'm going to be telling you about them using the past perfect continuous. So I'll say, Hassa had been having sleepless nights before she was treated. Easy. See how it works? Very, very easy. And now it's time to put what you learned into work by answering the following questions. Let's look at the first question. We had been. Obviously, if you see, we had been, the verb is going to be in which tense? In ing, and this is past perfect continuous. We had been playing tennis for only a few minutes when it's what? When it? Can we have two past perfects in one sentence? No. So it will be when it started. So if we have two verbs in the same sentence, you either have past perfect simple and past, or past perfect continuous and past. Easy. Let's look at the second example. George passed with distinction because he, for his exam for a long time. He passed. The first verb is in past tense. So what will the other verb be? He had been preparing. Why did we choose had been preparing? Because we have the duration for a long period. The duration. Easy. This brings us to the second grammar rule we'll cover today, which is so that and such that. It's very easy. We use it to talk about things that have an action or have a result. So we can, as you can see on the screen, let's put it on the screen and look. Such plus adjective plus noun plus that plus result. This is just how the sentence is going to be formed. All you have to do is just simply follow the equation. What I'm doing here for you, and I think this will help you, is for you to simply follow the equation. There is an order of words you simply have to follow. So if you're going to use such that, you'll have such, and it will be followed by an adjective plus a noun, and then that, and then after that, what comes after that? Yes, comes the result. The same thing with so plus adjective or adverb plus noun plus that plus the result. Let's try to apply them here. The music is so loud, I can't sleep. I want you to use so that. So you're going to be simply filling it in. The music is so loud. Loud is the adjective. The music is so loud. That? What's the result? I can't sleep. Very simple. The same thing for the next one. Jane is a good cook. She's writing her own book of recipes. So she's a good cook. What's the result? She's writing the recipes. So we're going to use such. Jane is such a good cook. This is the adjective, good, and cook is the noun. Jane is such a good cook that she is writing her own recipe. The result is writing her own recipe. Try to figure out the third one by yourself and then check your answer. The answer is as follows. Tom is such a clever student that he can answer any question exactly. Very easy. Now it's time for the functions. As we always say when it comes to functions, put yourself in that situation. Think about what you would say, how you would say it, and use clear, accurate, full sentences. Let's look at the first example. Your friend thinks that climbing mountains doesn't need any training. What do you think? Someone tells you climbing mountains doesn't need training. How would you respond? You're either going to agree, disagree, give your opinion, state difficulties and problems facing these things, or, describe qualities. So you could say, I disagree with you. I think climbing mountains needs lots of trainings. Or you can say, I advise you to train if you want to climb a mountain. You can use any sort of answer as long as you are ready to write it down in a clear, accurate form. The second example here, your mother asks you why you chose the arts section. So someone's asking you, why are you studying arts? What do you answer? You give them your answer. You can either be persuasive, explain your choice, or give a personal opinion. So if you want to give your personal opinion, say, in my opinion, it's the best kind of thing to study. I think studying art is really important. I prefer studying art. You can be persuasive by saying, if you study art, you will have a lot of opportunities. Why don't you think about studying art? Or you can explain your choice. I chose art because I find it fascinating. I chose art because whatever it is that you chose. It's very simple. Always put yourself in that situation and write down what you would say. This brings us to the end of our episode. In this episode, we covered a number of things. We covered the past perfect simple and the past perfect continuous. We also covered so that and such that, and looked at language functions and how to tackle them. Thank you for watching.